So I know I'm putting this out super late, but I was lazy and procrastinated, so this is what we get. I grabbed this game a couple months ago, like 5 or 6. I don't really remember, but I hadn't seen any trailers for it. Heard nothing about it. Day it was released, I said that looks like a cool game. Let's pick it up. It might be decent, and this game was more than decent. It far exceeded any expectations I could ever have for it. This game was extremely impressive from start to finish. So the game starts out with one of your samurai going down the hill all hyped up, ready for a one-on-one, honor and all that, to fight their best warrior, which happens to be the Khan, who does not give a shit about your honor, and just douses the dude with gasoline and lights him on fire. So everybody's like, oh, well that happened. So I guess we're going to battle, and everybody screams, charges down the hill. They're like, you dishonorable pig, and they chase after. Turns out they were prepared for that too. So you guys just get slaughtered, and then you find your uncle, and he's getting his head chopped off, and that's the end of that storyline, I guess. So then you wake up with Yuna, and she's like crying on the ground, and she's like, don't go back there. And then the Mongolian does, so she just stabs him in the neck repeatedly and just fucking murders him, and you're like, this is the most brutal game I've ever played. And then you find out your uncle's actually still alive, and that's the whole point of the game. You're gonna find your uncle, defeat the Mongolians, and save Tsushima. The pacing takes kind of a nosedive. The game is pretty slow after the initial battle. They cram as much exposition and tutorial in as quickly as possible in order to just get you to the actual story, but it's still a little dry, especially after all the mayhem that you went through during the opening. During the first couple of hours, Jin is pretty much just one-dimensional bitch. His story is, I'm a samurai, but he's still under his uncle, so he's not like a real samurai. He's just like a soldier. He's just boring, honestly. All he talks about is his uncle and honor, and then you go through the game, and he grows with every big battle or event, becoming more and more bold until he's this absolute boss of a dude, able to command the respect of some of the oldest and seasoned samurai and all of the people of Tsushima, as well as, like, the rebels and the people who hate the samurai. He becomes less rigid and more likable as a character. His character progression is really well done. Like, the man is terrifying by the end of it. There's a part where the guy who's been his equal for his whole life and through the whole game, and then the third act he straight up tells the Khan, like, he's unstoppable. None of my men can beat him. He is a nightmare. Even the Khan will admit at the end of the game that he respects and is terrified of the ghost. Like, they continuously say, this is not a human. I do have a few questions for this game. Is it always fall in Japan? Like, why are there so many leaves falling? And why don't they ever stop falling? There shouldn't even be that many leaves on the tree. All joking aside, the visuals of this game are breathtaking. Vivid colors everywhere. I mean, look at this tree. Just look at it. Look how impressive that tree is. I think the most impressive and artistic part of this game was the duels. Each one had its own theme and personality. You got swirling flowers. You got floating candles. You got waterfalls. You got more candles. Look at this one. You're fighting on a damn rock in the middle of the breaking sea. How cool is that? What other game lets you do that? That's right. Pokemon. You can feel the passion and the meticulous attention to detail with every step and sword strike. It really draws you into the game, creating this remarkably immersive story. It puts you in the mind of the lone samurai warrior struggling with his honor. Each of the battles are not just fleshed out in style, but also in combat. None of these battles are fights you can just simply button mash your way through. You have to read your opponent on the spot and act accordingly. None of the enemies are damage soakers. They have relatively low health. As far as I could tell, they never increase that health as the game goes. Instead, they just increase the technique, the speed, the damage, while still keeping it fairly balanced. Well, except for this fuckhead. God damn does he suck ass. He's a total fucking twat and insults you the entire time. This is by far the hardest fight in the game. And if you do this before finishing the game, the duels feel like a complete joke. I mean, it's super fun, but fuck this guy. The detailed combat follows you through the rest of the game as well. You have 4 different styles. In the first act, it really doesn't matter which one you use. It just kind of gives you an edge. But from the second act onward, it's almost impossible to not use the proper technique for the proper enemy. You get upgrades for each technique that lets you instantly parry attacks or do more damage and stun certain enemies, making the fight infinitely more enjoyable and doable, especially when you start getting bum rushed by 5 or 6 people at once. As well as fighting as a samurai, you get a ninja weapon, or as the title would suggest, ghost weapons. Don't be afraid of using ghost weapons and techniques, because as much as the game makes you feel like there should be a good or bad ending, there isn't. It's just one story, and you're supposed to feel guilty and relate with Jin as he becomes the ghost, losing some of his honor. Which would have been super nice to know before the third act, because only using samurai techniques is such a pain in the ass sometimes. And let me tell you, I was more than a little pissed off when I found out it doesn't matter as honorably as you play. He's gonna do the hugely dishonorable thing in the cutscene during the third act, no matter what. I won't spoil what it is, but you'll know it when it happens. By far the easiest way to deal with encounters is to just assassinate people, but I still like to fight head on. So I would just use the throwable weapons like the kunai or the smoke bombs to just give me space if I got cornered. You can actually specialize in archery if that's what you want to do, but it wasn't really my playstyle to snipe people. Instead, I mostly used the short bow as initiation to pick off enemies before I charged in, or to use them to take care of heavies, being headshots instantly kill people. It's also really nice for spacing. Upgrading your armor not only makes it stronger, but also makes it look better. Each armor starts off looking ultimately simple, but then upgraded into this badass work of art. So of course I spent a majority of my time upgrading my armor because for some reason, cosmetics just light my brain up. I mean, can you blame me? Look at this one, man. It's a goddamn deer head. Try and tell me this is the most badass thing you've seen. Now, it is an open world game, which means there are more collectibles than just weapon and armors, which I think doesn't really matter, but we'll go over them anyways. You can get health with your hot tubs, you get shrines for trinkets, you got bamboo for your resolve, you got pones for a shitty headband nobody gives a shit about, and my personal favorite is petting a fox for a charm slot. But come on, we all know the real reward was petting the cute little guy. And for that, this game gets a 10 out of 10. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like and subscribe, but more importantly, check out our sponsor, Kate's Coffee. That's right, we have a sponsor now. You can choose from 6 different flavors of beans, or if you're not very good with multiple choices, just get them all. Kate's Coffee is a family and veteran-owned company, so they definitely know how to make a good cup of coffee. Be sure to use the code BACON in checkout when you order from katescoffeecompany.com. Get a whopping 5% off your next purchase. I know. It's an amazing deal. No need to thank me. I do it because I love you. And just in time for the holidays, they have a limited holiday flavor, so be sure to grab your loved ones a bag. Thanks again, guys. See you next time.